Hi, this is Flux from Fact Pattern, and you're watching Industrial Music Culture. My life growing up was pretty normal, I guess. Mostly just a child of divorce living in Southern California. You know, had an older brother. We weren't very close. Mostly raised by my mom. Moved around a lot, but pretty much stuck to Orange County and Los Angeles. Bounced back and forth around OC and LA my entire life. Pretty much just grew up watching a lot of horror movies and listening to a lot of music. Being exposed to a lot of very interesting, inspiring art at a young age, I think, is definitely what made me the person I am today. I'd have to say that I was probably about, I don't know, probably about 10 or 12 years old when I was about 10 years old when I first heard Nine Inch Nails. But I was passively aware of industrial music through some of the movies I have been watching up to that point in time, not really knowing that it was called industrial music. But I guess, you know, my exposure to Skinny Puppy and Nine Inch Nails around the age of like 10, 12, 13 was probably the start of it. I was 10 years old when I first picked up the guitar and started learning very seriously. Prior to that, I had taken drums in first year band at an elementary school that I was in Fountain Valley. But I don't really count that. I have always been rhythmically inclined. I've always like tapped on things, but the first time I got serious about music was when I picked up guitar at age 10 and just started learning every chord and every song that I could, getting the, you know, guitar tablature books from the local music shop and learning albums front to back, like Faith No More, Nirvana, and all that stuff. I'd say the biggest inspirations that got me to pick up the guitar in the first place were probably David Gilmour and Kurt Cobain. As ironic as that may sound, because they're so different stylistically and had such different career trajectories, those were definitely the artists that had the most immediate impact on me from a very early age, made me want to make music. Just the way David Gilmour plays guitar, the way Pink Floyd worked together, and the scope and cinematic quality of their music made me want to do those things, because I was already obsessed with movies at a very early age. And then, you know, when that preteen angst kicks in, you know, and Nirvana's at the height of their career, it really resonated with me, and I was like, okay, I really need to do this. I really need to put some of these emotions into a creative outlet. I had the first ideas for the project back in like 2008, 2009 when the name first came to me and the concept started forming. Got really involved in digital recording at that point. I had messed around a lot in high school with, you know, Fruity Loops and Cubase and all free versions and stuff like that. But that was when I got really into Pro Tools and Ableton Live, working with those both simultaneously because I just felt I had to work in both environments. And I started sketching out a lot of ideas, you know, at the same time as getting really familiar with how digital audio workspaces operated. There were a lot of ideas that were sketched out. The first version of the band kind of emerged in 2011. But it was, you know, a hodgepodge of ideas that I was never really happy with. Put it to bed around 2013, 2014, and just kind of decided to, you know, clean the slate and start fresh once I had a more focused concept of what the band was going to be sonically and conceptually. Well, the only tour we've done was in 2019, and it was very DIY. At the time, we had Rainon Bozio drumming for us, and he, through his connections in Austin, Texas, was able to help us get you know, on the opening slot of Perturbator, the Perturbator tour with Ghost that occurred around that time. So we locked in the opening slot on that tour just for that show in Austin at Come and Take It Live, which was a great venue. And then we booked a whole tour around it, you know, starting in LA, going through Arizona, then a bunch of shows in Texas, then back through New Mexico and Arizona. There were a couple cancellations along the way, and, you know, some poorly attended shows and some other shows that were really well attended, specifically the two that we did in Austin with Perturbator, and then 2 nights later at the Elysium Shadows and Rhythm Festival. And, you know, there were some great nights on that tour. There were some less than stellar nights too, but it was a lot of fun, and it definitely reaffirmed why we, you know, do what we do. We had some great reactions, especially at the Perturbator show, and it really, you know, validated why we do this. We had the first EP in 2017, which I mostly recorded myself. There were a couple instances of co-writing on that, but it was just 4 songs. And then slowly after that, with the strength of that EP, I was able to, you know, really finalize the live band with Jack Loud and at the time Rain and Bozio, and we started writing together, working towards, you know, our first full length, and that was Fallen Language. That was a really satisfying record to finish and put out. There's, I think, some of our best songs on there, and we still play a lot of that record live right now, even though we have tons of new stuff, and we could easily swap out all of those songs for all new stuff or all recent stuff with our newer drummer. But there's a lot of strong songs on there that we love playing live, and we're really proud of it, but we can't wait to top it, and that's what our goal is next. Our first music video was very slapped together for Her Arms Folded, and that was on the very first 4-song EP called Structures. I almost don't even count that video. Our first real video would have been My Guard Down, which was our first collaboration of 2 that we did with a good friend of ours, an amazing filmmaker named Alex Schultz, also an incredible musician who, you know, both Jack and I had worked with in a previous band. But the first real video was My Guard Down, and that was a lot of fun to shoot. We shot it on a rehearsal space in front of a green screen because we wanted sort of a very grimy 90s look. You know, we wanted it to look like green screen, but we wanted it to also look like, you know, some VHS artifact that you found in a basement. So it has a lot of filters and everything, and so there was a lot of like Adobe After Effects involved, and so processing each clip was very tedious, and it took a couple months to actually get the video to where it needed to be, to where we were all happy with it, you know, not just us but Alex himself. So that was fun but painstaking. We don't have a current tour booked right now. We're mainly focused on playing really strong live shows with local friends, and trying to find new artists in the area who we think are doing amazing things and inspire us, and hopefully we inspire them. So we're focused on that right now. We're trying to spread out a little bit more out of town and just doing, like, you know, one-off shows here and there. So we don't have a tour booked right now. We're just trying to play really strong shows here and there with good lineups, and artists that we, you know, love and respect. Well, the most recent video / single that we did was well after our last EP. Our last EP was the 5-song release called From Where You're Hiding, which had 2 bonus remixes on the CD version from Dread Risks and Black Magnet, both good friends of ours. But the last video we did for it was Retail Therapy, which is the closing track on the EP proper. That was a lot of fun. We had this whole concept of doing this parody of QVC with a, you know, a cynical host and kind of a depraved guest dynamic. The guests being, you know, showcasing all these products that are basically useless, and you know, the kind of stuff that preys on your, the insecurities of your physical shortcomings, what have you, before it, turns into a very dark reveal of what's actually going on under the hood. That was a lot of fun to shoot. We had one day to get the location shots done at a TV studio in San Pedro, where they typically shoot like, UFO investigation type stuff and conversations of that nature. So that was a lot of fun. The rest of the stuff, like B-roll and product features of it spinning around, so that it looked legit, it looked like an actual, late night shopping program. We did that all at home. Me and my girlfriend Samantha Franco, we shot all that stuff at home, and then we, scripted all the ideas and got basic character ideas down for each of us. And that featured, myself as the host, and the dark voice inside, urging everyone to buy these products, as well as Samantha Franco as one of the hosts. I'm sorry, one of the guests. Travis from Contra Cult, good friend of ours, was a total sport to hang out all day and get it done with us. Jack, our bass player, and also Izzy, who is also Samantha's sister. They were an amazing cast, and we all, were on the same page about the humor, the dark humor behind this video, and it was a lot of fun to get it done, but the editing process was very, very tedious because there's so many moving graphics and keyframes and stuff going on. It took a long time to get it actually finished, but very happy with the outcome of it. Not really. When we play shows, we usually just kind of like, stretch out our hands, fist bump, and, get everything ready and go on stage. That's pretty much all there is to it, the show itself is ritual enough. I am still to this day very obsessed with the art of filmmaking, and I spend any free time I can get watching movies, trying to catch up on a long list of stuff I haven't watched yet. I really, really love just enjoying time alone or with a friend or with my girlfriend, watching a movie and then talking about it afterwards. I love watching a movie that you have to unpack, and I love talking about that stuff. So that's definitely a hobby of mine. Other than that, I really love video editing, although I don't know if that's technically a hobby. It's another creative outlet I have. I wouldn't call it a hobby necessarily. I also collect movies. I'm very much still a proponent of physical media, especially since with streaming a lot of gems are getting lost to the vaults of studios that don't have any interest in releasing them. So if I can get my hands on a physical copy of something from decades past that doesn't exist anymore, they don't make it anymore, hunting that down and making it part of my collection is definitely a hobby of mine. My favorite food is definitely Mexican food, and I love beer, and I definitely lean more towards Mexican beers, lagers, cervezas, stuff like that. I enjoy the occasional IPA, although it's a little too heavy for me these days, but I also enjoy whiskey, usually straight, but if I'm going to mix it, it's usually with ginger ale. We don't have any pets currently, at least not me personally. Our drummer has two very cute dogs, and we FaceTime with him all the time, and we're always, talking to the dogs on his end. Our bass player and his partner Izzy, they have a little Papillon named Remy, who is the sweetest little pup you've ever seen, and loves everybody, and just wants cuddles and comfort. But I myself don't have any pets currently. Way too busy managing everything with the band and handling video clients and audio clients. So right now it's just not in the cards for us to have a pet, although we definitely want one sometime soon. Pink Floyd is probably the biggest one. Other than that, Faith No More, and I'm reluctant to say it given recent controversy, but Neurosis is a huge influence on me. I have to definitely say Nine Inch Nails, Skinny Puppy, and Godflesh are my three big ones. Obviously, there's plenty of others that I could rattle off that are a huge influence on me, but Nine Inch Nails, Skinny Puppy, and Godflesh have had the most significant impact on me, and I think have the most solid discography. Not really a bad entry in the bunch. We recently played Knucklehead Hollywood for the first time, and I loved that place. It's small and unassuming, but definitely has a vibe, and everybody that works there is super friendly and super helpful, and that sound system is surprisingly powerful. When you get it pumping and you have the right sound guy behind the board, that place sounds great. And we've also played the Echo. The Echo was great. Transplants out in Palmdale, California is amazing. They've put a lot of time and energy into making that place fun to play, and their staff is amazing, and they have great beer. Other than that, Come and Take It live in Austin, Texas is amazing. That place has a great sound system, great lights, very high stage, almost, you know, vertigo inducing, but it sounds great in there, and again, their staff is just incredible. We're actually finishing up a full length right now. It's in the final stages of production and mix. We shot one video for the first single. That's already cut together. It was a simple performance video, but very, very moody, very vibey. That's going to be the first single, but we're going to shoot 4 more. The record's going to be 10 tracks in total, and we're going to have 5 singles and videos from the whole record that we're going to drip out over time, leading up to the release of the record. In between all of that, we are currently working on some collaborations with some of our local friends and some of our out-of-state friends as well. Remixes, and then original collab tracks and some covers. Stuff like that is definitely in the works. Just an immense thank you to anyone at this point who has supported us and continues to support us. We've received over the last year a lot of very warm messages and interactions from recent shows we've played, and new friendships that have developed from people who simply liked our music and now have become like friends of ours. So thank you, because it's the kind of thing that makes this all worth it. You know, we would do this no matter what, but you know, knowing that it resonates with people and people feel the emotion and understand what we're trying to do, it means a lot. It means everything. Buckle up and learn every skill that you can, because you really have to be a jack of all trades. You have to wear many hats, and you have to do all kinds of things yourself in order for any of it to matter to anyone. Just don't give up. Thanks for watching, Industrial People. This is Ian from Fax Pattern, and we are here for you. Thank you.